Ako si Francis Camtugan na napanganak noong Agosto 9, 1983 sa Sagada Mountain Province. At ako ay magpo-42 years old ngayong taon na ito. Ako ay abogado ng 15 na taon. Sa buong 15 years ko bilang abogado ay nasa private practice ako. At ako ay nag-specialize sa criminal defense. Ako ang gumawa at nagtaguyod ng Camtugan and Partners Law Offices na may mga kaso mula Tabuk City, Kalinga at Cauayan City, Isabela hanggang Metro Manila. At hanggang Cebu City at Iloilo City sa Visayas Region at sa Mindanao naman ay magmula Bayugan, Agusan del Sur hanggang Polomolok, South Cotabato. I was born in Sagada Mountain Province and my late father, Francis Abea Camtugan, is from Ambasing Sagada and Takong Sagada, Payaw Busaw, and Lubon Tajan. And my mother, Evangeline Biag-Gaygay-Ed, is from Ambasing Sagada in Bila, Bauco. I grew up here in Baguio City, and that explains my good command in English. Of course, we have the best schools and teachers in Baguio City. I finished my elementary school at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Montessori located at Camdas, Baguio City. I finished my high school at Baguio City National High School Special Science Section. I am a Millennium Batch or Batch 2000. I finished my Bachelor of Science in Medical Technology in the year 2004 at St. Louis University and took and passed the board on the same year. I finished law at the University of the Cordilleras last 2009 and passed the bar taken on the same year. I had been in private practice for 15 years. I admit that I never had any position with any government agency, whether it be elected or appointed. This is my first. Sa aking karera, hindi ko ninais na maging politiko. May mga kasamahan sa abogasya na nagkakalat ng kwento na ako ay disqualified kasi hindi ako bumoto ng 2019 at 2022 elections. In fact, I'm very much disqualified. Hindi yon ground. Ang kaisa-isang eleksyon na bumoto ako ay noong 2016 o nung panahon na may three-way Baguio mayoralty race ni na Judge Claraval, dating Mayor Domogan at ni Councilor Jose Mencio Molintes. Noong mga panahon na iyon, masasabi natin na wala akong pakialam kung ano man nangyayari sa politika. Noong 2019, mas ninais ako na magsilbi bilang isang election lawyer sa isang munisipyo ng Ilocos Sur. Noong 2022 naman, ay mas ninais ko na gumawa ng petition sa Court of Appeals kasi kailangan nang i-file ang kaso na iyon. Gaya ng mga kasamahan ko sa pribadong pag-aabogasya, mas gusto namin na magtrabaho kaysa pumila at sa presinto at bumoto. Subalit, maraming mga napansin ako na mga hindi kanais-nais sa mga pangyayari sa Baguio na kailangan ko nang makialam at gumawa ng aksyon. Ang aking pagtakbo ay hindi para sa aking pansariling kapakanan. I have a very good law practice. As to my family, they are very independent. My mother has a boarding house in New Lucban, Baguio City. My brother has a good position with the Bureau of Internal Revenue. I am childless but I have fur babies, Drogo, Dana, and Guilty. The members of my extended family, the Camtugans, the Abeas, Biags, Bilalats, and Gaygay-Eds, are good in their professions and businesses. My late father's sister and her family are the owners of Coda Lines or the bus line servicing Quezon City to Sagada. My relatives on my father's side are very successful in their businesses. As regards my mother's side, they are very much employed, independent, and also successful in their businesses. Nakakaalarma na ang politika sa Baguio na napansin ko mula nang ako ay naging adult dito sa Baguio at hindi na nakakatuwa. Instead of public service, ang mga politician ay nasa real estate na. Instead of pushing forward sa pabahay program na pinangako ng ating Pangulo noong 2022, naging ayuda naman na ang diskusyon. Ang ayuda ay hindi pinag-usapan ng mga botante at ng mga politiko noong 2022. Wala yan sa agenda. Subalit isang malaking kalokohan na naging government program yan. Ang mga public and alienable lands natin sa Baguio ay hindi pa naaayos despite the fact na 1987 pa yung Administrative Order 504 na yan na naglalayo na i-dispose ang lahat ng public and alienable lands sa ating syudad. Ang nangyayari ay namamafia at nakokorap mga yan. Sa aking practice, na-meet ko ang mga matatanda na hanggang ngayon ay hindi titulado ang kanilang mga propriedad dito sa Baguio. May iba ay namatay na. Ang mga anak at apo naman ay problemado rin kung paano nila mapakinabangan ang mga lupa ng kanilang mga lolo at lola or great-grandparents. Kung gusto nilang patayuan ng mas magandang bahay o ipaayos ang mga bahay ng mga lolo at lola nila, hindi sila nakakakuha ng mga home loans or construction loans mula sa mga universal at commercial banks sa kadahilanan hindi na patitulado ang kanilang mga lupa sa Baguio. Ano ang nadiskubre ko sa 15 taon ko bilang isang pribadong abogado? Ang mga leaders at opisyal ng syudad ng Baguio ay may motto na keep the poor poor and the dependent dependent. Ang ibig sabihin nito ay hindi inaayos mga opisyal natin sa DNR at City ang application for titling kasi gusto nilang makinabang. Nung nag-umpisa ako bilang abogado, napansin ko na yung korupsyon na yan. Ang tawag sa mga padulas dito sa Baguio ay yangibs or bingays and karate chops. Ginugusto ng mga traditional politician na bigyan ng problema ang mga tao pagdating sa kanilang mga lupa kasi nakikinabang ang mga established na politiko. Hindi nila isosolve ang problem kasi mas maraming residente ng Baguio ang kanilang makokontrol kung mga residenteng ito ay wala pa ring titulo at dependent sa kanila. As I said earlier, keep the poor poor and the dependent dependent. Mas lumala ang problema sa lupa ng mga residente ng Baguio kasi mga politiko na mismo ang nagnenegosyo. Contrary to the good governance motto of the current mayor, the land issues remain unresolved because of corruption. I am not blaming him directly, but I'm putting the blame on some people around him or he might have appointed. Mas worse ang isang partido o ang partido dinastiya ng syudad ng Baguio. Kasi pinasok na nila ang real estate industry, kung saan daming kahina-hinalang mga acquisitions nila sa South Drive, Camp 7, Gibraltar, Pacdal at iba pang mga lugar sa Baguio. Ang namumuno ng partido dinastiya ay sila rin ang mga involved sa bridge financing na kasama ang mga managers ng Philippine National Bank noon. Sa sobrang laki ng kanilang racket ay malaki rin ang nascam sa kanila nung Timzay or casino junket. Masyado ng korap at masama ang politika ng Baguio na kung saan ay mga politiko mismo ang nakikinabang sa mga sindikato o sila ang sindikato mismo. Noong last quarter of 2022, sinumbong namin sa Office of the Mayor at National Bureau of Investigation, Cordillera Administrative Region, ang scam na mag-asawang Jeneline Floresca at Rafi Palangdan Floresca. Si Rafi ay pamangkin ng longtime mayor ng Itogon Municipality. Sinumbong namin ang Casa Infinis Scam. Sinumbong namin ang casino junket scam na kung saan kasama si Mr. Palangdan Floresca. Hindi po kami pinansin ng mga lokal na law enforcement at officials. Of course, malakas ang mga backer nila, 2 konsehal sa City Hall at membro ng Office of the City Prosecution. Kaya ako at ang aking opisina ay nag-report sa mga national offices ng Securities and Exchange Commission, Bureau of Internal Revenue, Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas at iba pa. Alam naman natin ang nangyari. Nag-issue ang Securities and Exchange Commission ng cease and desist order laban sa Timzay at Casino Junket noong March 16, 2023. At cease and desist order naman laban sa sindikato ng Casa Infini noong June 8, 2023. At alam lang lahat ng Baguio na nagkaroon ng raid ang Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission laban sa Casa Infini noong June 10, 2023. Ang pagkasa ng raid na ito ay hindi pinaalam sa mga lokal na opisyal kasi alam ng national offices na meron mga protektor ang sindikato ng mga matataas na opisyal sa law enforcement, prosecution service, and even the National Bureau of Investigation, Cordillera Administrative Region. Ang punto ko lang po ay may korupsyon sa Baguio at kailangan natin palitan ang mga nasa posisyon. Kung patuloy-tuloy at lalo na kung uupo ang dinastiya at kanilang mga alipores, mas malala pa ang mangyayari. Kasi mas malala ang laro ng sindikato ng lupa sa Baguio. We will not allow Baguio to go to the dogs. What is my philosophy in lawmaking, if you want to ask? Simple lang po. Ako ay naniniwala na ang concentration ng lawmaking ay sa tatlong aspeto. Una, gumawa ng batas para mas maging malaya ang isang individual at mas kontrolado niya ang kanyang private properties. Pangalawa, limitado dapat ang Estado sa pagkontrol ng individual, lalo na sa aspeto ng individual na kalayaan, private property, at ang kanyang paghangad sa kanyang sariling kasiyahan or right to pursue happiness. Pangatlo, pag ako ay nahalal, sisiguraduhin ko na makikiparticipate ako sa decision-making kung saan maghahanap tayo ng solusyon para mabawasan ang utang ng ating bansa na nakakabahala. Mabawasan ang pagiging dependent natin sa utang mula sa mga international banks. Maging effective sa paggawa ng mga tax laws gaya ng aking proposition na lalong itaas ang sin taxes, luxury taxes, online casinos, at sa mga sasakyan at mga bagay-bagay o activities na mga mayayaman o may kaya sa buhay. Sa unang aspeto, akin imumungkahi ang pagrebisa ng succession laws ng Civil Code ng Philippines. Ang individual ay hindi dapat matali ng succession o paggawa ng testamento at mga batas na ito ay dated 1949 at nakabase sa Civil Code ng Espanya na nakabase naman sa Napoleonic Code. Kung ang isang tao ay malapit na sa hukay, dapat ay full property rights yan. Siya sa kanyang mga ari-arian at mabilis niya lang pwedeng i-dispose ang kanyang mga properties at kahit ito ay labag sa loob ng kanyang mga anak. Nagiging tamad rin tayo dahil sa sistema ng succession laws kung saan hinihintay natin matigok ang ating mga parents or grandparents before tayo gumalaw o magtrabaho. Dahil sa makalumang sistema na ito, hindi rin napapakinabangan ng Estado ang mga taxes na pwede kunin sa mga huwantamad na anak na umaasa na mamatay ang kanilang mga magulang. Isang halimbawa ng pangalawa ay ang pagsang-ayon ko sa diborsyo at same-sex union. Marami po tumututol sa diborsyo at same-sex union sa kadahilanan ng moralidad at relihiyon. Tayong bansa ay maraming lingwahe, maraming kultura, maraming relihiyon at maraming moralidad. Ang pagkain ng karne ng baboy ay pinagbabawal sa ilang relihiyon. Pero hindi naman pwede na gumawa ng batas para sa ipagbawal ang pagkain ng pork kasi labag ito sa ating konstitusyon. Instead of imposing morality, why not think of the law this way? Let's make laws for the government and the community to take advantage at the end of the day. Isang rason bakit hindi nakakamit ang full potential ng isang relasyon, marital relation ay dahil nakatali pa ang mag-asawa sa isang failed marriage. Hindi makautang sa bangko ang isang tao kasi kailangan ng bangko ang mag-asawa para pumirma sa loan documents including real estate mortgage at promissory note. Kung hindi kayo magkasundo ng iyong asawa at hiwalay na kayo ng matagal, nagiging disadvantage para sa tao ito. Sa parte ng Estado, sayang ang taxes na pwedeng makuha sa mga transaksyon at diskarte ng individual na tao na hindi makautang dahil sa hindi niya mahanap ang kanyang asawa o ayaw pumirma ng kanyang asawa na matagal na silang hiwalay. Bilang halimbawa ng pangatlo ay ang pagtaas ng taxes ng online casinos at mga sugal. Kung imposible na matigil ang sugal, ang aking imumungkahi na lalo pa itaas ang mga taxes at dagdagan ang mga transaksyon na kailangan itax sa sugal. Hindi na po nakakatuwa na ang political leaders natin sa Baguio ay nakikitransact sa SM despite the fact na meron casino sa loob. That's Casino Plus. If you say the facility is only doing traditional bingo, tell that to the Marines. Tanggapin natin na ang society natin ay napaka-patriarchal at hindi basta-basta matatanggal ang Confucian tradition ng mga Asyano at mga dominanteng relihiyon ay patriarchal. Ngunit pwede nating paigtingin or palakasin ang mga batas para sa mas lalong maprotektahan ang mga kababaihan. Pag ako ay nahalal bilang kongresista ng Baguio, imumungkahi ko na tanggalin ang adultery at concubinage sa ating Kodigo Penal o ang batas na nagpaparusa ng mga aksyon kriminal. Kung hindi man kaya na ma-approve ang diborsyo sa Pilipinas, I will sponsor a bill to amend Article 36 of the Family Code or the provision defining psychological incapacity para maisama ang mga sa tingin ko ay dapat na rason para ma-terminate ang kasal. Una, one-time physical assault by one spouse against the other. Ang paggamit ng dahas sa isang relasyon ay dapat sapat para ma-terminate ng isang kasal. Pangalawa, irreconcilable difference. Pag hindi nagkakaintindihan ang mag-asawa, sapat na dapat ito para ipawalang bisa ang kasal. Pangatlo, adultery at homosexuality. Sa panahon ngayon, hindi na kailangan na magtiis para kumalas sa isang malungkot na kasal. Pag natuklasan mo at may ebidensya ka na meron na ibang iyong kinakasama, dapat sapat na ito para ma-terminate ang kasal or marriage. Pang-apat at pinaka-importante ay dapat ma-terminate ang marriage pag meron ng anak sa labas. Sa aking palagay, mas importante ang kalagayan ng bata kaysa ang pagprotekta ng Estado sa isang malungkot na kasal. Kailangan natin maprotektahan natin ang mental and emotional health ng mga bata. If we have to approve the annulment of marriage on the ground of the best interests of the children, it should be done. Kung ang mayorya ng Kongreso ay hindi pa handa sa diborsyo at pag-expand sa Article 36 of the Family Code, I will propose and move for the repeal of Article 96 and 126 of the Family Code. In these two provisions, the law grants the spouses joint authority and management and administration of conjugal properties. However, the husband's decision prevails subject to judicial recourse by the wife within 5 years from the decision. Sa panahon ngayon, hindi na dapat angkop ito at kailangan ng ma-repeal as soon as possible. Ano naman magiging relasyon ko sa local government unit of Baguio? I will make sure that the council and the mayor will be informed of all bills I will propose and all bills na pupunta sa table ko. I will ask for their opinions, written if possible, regarding pending bills and proposed bills. Ayoko na maulit ang katangahan na nangyari sa paggawa ng Revised Charter of Baguio noong 2022. Mas nakakaloka na katangahan ang Revised Charter than the first autonomy proposal sa Cordillera noong early 2000 kung saan meron provision about bodies of water given that landlocked ang Cordillera. Sa isang representative democracy, naniniwala ako na trabaho ng isang congressman na alamin ang hinaing at kagustuhan ng kanyang mga constituents. Last year, ang ating representative ay bumoto ng no para sa divorce bill. I don't think there is proper consultation na nangyari and I think the vote is a bad judgment. While it is true that he might have a perfect family and a stable marriage, that is not true for many Baguio residents. Kaya nga, ang daming nullity of marriage cases pending sa Baguio Justice Hall. Marami rin hindi makafile kasi sa kawalan ng pera sa pambayad sa abogado at psychiatrist. Also, marami nahirapan magpaanal kasi yung dating asawa ay nasa abroad. Pag ako ay nahalal, aalamin ko ang hinaing ng mga constituents ko sa pamamagitan ng pagkuha ng written opinion sa konseho at pagkakaroon ng mga regular meetings with community elders. That I promise. What's my take on governance? Again, I am against any plan to create a dynasty. I also oppose a complete control by one party for the entire city of Baguio. Kailangan pa rin na mayroon reasonable tension and discord among our leaders. If we allow complete takeover by one party, parehas lang effect niyan sa dinastiya. Kailangan pa rin ng healthy opposition sa city government of Baguio. If every councilor acts like a stampede of the mayor, then we do not have a healthy system. At the end of the day, kumukuha na lang yung politician ng kanyang shares sa condo from the developers or land cruiser. Huwag tayo pumayag sa total rule ng isang partido. As regards sa tumataas na utang ng Pilipinas, ako ay makikilahok sa mga diskusyon sa Kongreso para magbigay ng mga ideya at proposals kung paano mabawasan ang utang. Hindi nakakatuwa na ang budget natin ay malaki ang domestic and international loans. Marami nang bumagsak na mga bansa dahil sa sobrang utang. Nakita natin to sa Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Lebanon, Turkey at Greece. Mga peste ang utang. At hindi nakakatuwa na masyado ng magastos at impraktikal ang ating gobyerno. Kailangan ng bawasan ng gastos at mabalance ang budget ng ating bansa. Magtataka kayo bakit andyan pa ang Department of Agrarian Reform at Presidential Commission on Good Governance. Ang Presidential Commission on Good Governance ay ginawa pa nung panahon ni dating Presidente Corazon Aquino para habulin nila ang sinasabing nakaw na yaman ng pamilyang Marcos. More than 38 years na mga yan, pero hindi pa nila tapos ang trabaho. Nakakatuwa na ang presidente natin ay nag-appoint pa ng mga opisyal para sa PCGG na yan. Dapat nang i-dispose ang mga confiscated assets na yan kasi nung panahon pa ni Cory yan, yung PCGG na yan. As to agrarian reform, bakit hindi pa matapos-tapos yan? Magtataka ka na lang, di ba? Why not dissolve the agency? Ibenta ang assets niyan sa Quezon City at gamitin para pambayad sa government pension, lalo na for the uniform services. Ito pa, pag ako ay nahalal, imumungkahi ko na tanggalin na yung palamuti na tawag is Movie and Television Review and Classification Board. At ibenta ang ari-arian ng agency na yan along EDSA para maayos ang government pension system. As regards the impeachment ni Vice President Sara Zimmerman Duterte at planong impeachment against President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., ito ang promise ko sa mga residente ng Baguio. I strongly believe that we don't need another political spectacle in the next 3 years of the Marcos administration. Mas importante na tugunan at ayusin ng Kongreso ang problema sa budget, sa PhilHealth, ang pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin, ang pabahay program na prinamis noong 2022, pagsugpo sa korupsyon, at paggawa or pag-amend ng mga batas para mas angkop sa makabagong henerasyon at maprotektahan ang individual na karapatan ng mga tao at pigilan ng hyperinflation sa ating bansa. Kung matanggal ang Vice President, hindi bababa ang presyo ng bilihin. Kung ma-impeach ang President, wala guarantee na maayos ang government pension system or PhilHealth system. Mahilig tayo sa drama pero hindi nakakain ng drama. Kahit anong mangyari sa national politics, tuloy pa rin ang problema ninyo. Kasal ka pa rin sa nag-abandona sa'yo. Mahigit 1 dekada na ang nakaraan. Mahina pa rin ang pasaporte mo. Magbabayad ka pa rin ng utang mo. Maraming mas importante na gagawin kaysa nagde-debate at nagdidiskusyon tungkol sa impeachment. There are many ways to skin a cat. Filing of criminal charges, filing of civil forfeiture cases, etc. However, we have to put a stop to this national spectacle and do our job. As regards the planned Cordillera autonomy, I am definitely against the planned autonomy. The autonomy is a waste of money. It creates an added bureaucracy and it damages individual rights in favor of collective rights. Instead of an autonomy, I propose a CR, Cordillera Region, with the characteristics of any regular region in the Philippines, like having its own office of the regional state prosecutor and the like. The autonomy is nothing but a fantasy of politicians to become kings, called regional governors. The national government will be spending billions just to create the structures housing the regional offices. Instead of wasting such money for the regional offices, the money can be used to pay off debts, create and improve public hospitals. The planned autonomy is discriminatory for its proponents dare to define who an Igorot is. This racist agenda, which reeks of social Darwinism, must be put to rest once and for all. Modern-day Baguio people do not want to be classified or reclassified, and Baguio residents should not be made to explain or identify their Igorotness. I, for one, is a pure-blood Igorot, but it doesn't matter anymore. My brother is half Igorot and half Bisaya, but it does not matter anymore. My pamangkin is 1/4 Igorot, 1/4 Bisaya, and 1/4 Pangasinense, but it does not matter anymore. My latest pamangkin is 1/4 Chinese Singaporean, 1/4 Igorot, and 1/2 Tagalog, but it doesn't matter anymore. If there is a concern about blood and genetics, I think we should concentrate on funding state researches regarding genetic diseases common among Filipinos so that information can be shared with pharmaceutical industries for the cure. If the autonomy is once again proposed, I promise to use my office as congressman and my platform as congressman of Baguio to oppose the autonomy and bury it once and for all. Instead, I will file a law to create Cordillera Region, a region for all inhabitants just like the newly created Negros region. As regards the dynasty, hindi ako papayag niyan. Hindi ako papayag na lalaki ang mga pamangkin ko sa loob ng dinastiya. Inaamin ko naman na sa aking karera bilang isang abogado ay nakapag-represent rin ako ng mga politiko na miyembro ng dynasty sa iba't ibang probinsya. However, taga Baguio ako at ayoko ng dynasty. Maraming negative effects yan. Tignan nyo na lang ang nangyari sa Las Piñas kung saan may utang ang mga kumpanya ni Senator Villar sa local government unit of Las Piñas na mahigit 200 million pesos. Hindi ito masingil-singil kasi ang mga nasa posisyon sa City of Las Piñas ay mga kamag-anak ni Senator Villar. Kung sa ngayon ay malaki ang nalikom na mga ari-arian ang dynasty sa Baguio, sa Gibraltar, St. Joseph, South Drive, Camp 7, etc., mas malala pa ang mangyayari kung sila ay tuluyan ng makuha ang buong City Hall. Huwag tayong papayag sa kalokohan na ito. Our children and grandchildren will live and grow in a dynasty-free Baguio. I strongly believe in the electorate of Baguio kasi kaya nilang nating gumawa ng koreksyon at kaya nating tanggalin ang mga politikong hindi maganda ang plano sa syudad. We have an intelligent electorate and we were able to prove it many times. Baguio people voted out a mayor who was at the casino with his mistress while the city was being ravaged by a strong typhoon. Baguio people voted out a congressman who soaked children during the Panagbenga parade just to entertain ambassadors and a senator. He did not stop the parade, had the parents panic, had the children soaked, and the people voted him out. Baguio people voted out a congressman who ruined an entire mountain and cut numerous trees. I have much trust to the voters of Baguio. As regards PhilHealth, I will support to improve the system and expand the coverage. Sa mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas, ang PhilHealth scam ang pinakamasakit lalong-lalo na sa mga manggagawang Pilipino kasi automatic ang kaltas nito sa mga sweldo nila. Ngayon, the PhilHealth and ang healthcare system natin ay nanganganib na masira. Mali ang pagsang-ayon sa transfer ng pondo ng PhilHealth sa State Sovereign Fund or ang Maharlika Fund. Susuportahan ko lahat ng bills at makikilahok ako sa paggawa ng batas para mabawi ang pera at ma-audit ang PhilHealth. Kailangan rin na ma-expand ang coverage ng PhilHealth to cover pre-diabetic conditions, cancer marker tests, dental problems, mental health, cancer treatment, at kung anuman excess should be used to support government and public hospitals and fund research on tropical infectious diseases. Of course, alam naman natin na ang korupsyon dyan is yung pag-iimbak ng pera para mapaikot sa money placement sa mga bangko. As regards criminal justice reform, I have learned a lot about this in my years of practice. We need to amend the criminal justice system. It is very impractical for the government to be spending money housing convicted criminals na wala naman ginagawa sa loob ng national penitentiaries. We need a cost-efficient system wherein we allow the penitentiaries to make deals with local government units and even private companies for the inmates to have work like production of furniture, stonework, electronics, etc. If we are going to convict people, it is much better that they are working or they should be productive. Aside from my idea of a money-making penitentiary system, I will also move for convicts of less than 3 years imprisonment to have the option to pay the incarceration for a starting rate of 20,000 a day. If someone has done wrong to the state and community as a whole, he or she should be incarcerated or be allowed to pay huge amounts of money for minor cases like oral defamation, slander, physical injuries, theft, etc. Also, I strongly believe in the restoration of the death penalty for heinous crimes. Aside from being constitutional, as the Constitution made mention of the death penalty is more practical than lifetime incarceration. Bakit tayo gagastos ng pera habang buhay na pagkakulong kung pwede naman itong death penalty? Heinous crime should include transnational drug trafficking, transnational human trafficking, aggravated murder, rape with homicide, rape of a minor, at iba pang karumal-dumal na krimen. Anyone who committed such acts has forfeited his or her life. Pag ako ay nahalal, I will move for more money, more power, and more resources to the prosecution and law enforcement to put on hold questionable acquisitions of drug traffickers, human traffickers, smugglers, etc. I will move that the mechanism for the disposal of these properties should be as quick as possible for the benefit of the government and the victims. As regards law enforcement, I will do everything I can to make the Philippine National Police, the Philippine Navy, the Philippine Army, and the National Bureau of Investigation to be more competitive in getting the best and the brightest from the private sector or from pool of college graduates. I will seek to increase the hazard pay and a much better pension guarantee so that these agencies can be more attractive to young people seeking jobs. In order to do this, we shall move to liquidate the non-performing realty and personal assets of the Bureau, the Philippine National Police, and the Philippine Army. Much better than we have a strong and professional security forces which is smaller but more efficient bases and headquarters. Anyone who might have visited major bases know that maraming sayang na dapat i-dispose na lang at magamit sa paggawa ng professional at efficient na security forces. Also, I will find ways to secure funding for a better police facilities, better vehicles, better law enforcement tools for our Baguio City Police Office. If we can get funds to expropriate the surrounding properties to consolidate the crime laboratories and police force, then I will use the funds and my skills to expropriate those properties. We are a great city, but kalat-kalat mga offices, mga police offices. You have the women's desk at Burnham Park. You have the regional anti-cybercrime unit at the DPS compound. You have the police security protection group at the Lions Club. This arrangement is unacceptable. How about the Ayuda programs? I know you want me to talk about it. I am totally against the Ayuda program for it is a form of vote buying and pork barrel. A lawmaker's job is to make laws. I will vote against its extension. Marami paraan para makatulong sa mga mahirap nating mga kababayan. Here in Baguio, for example, kung ayusin ng city at DNR yung mga land titling processes through AO 504, I bet marami ang mawawala sa poverty line sa Baguio at marami ang hindi magiging dependent sa ayuda scam na yan. Teach a man how to fish and you teach him how to live. Hindi natin itutuloy ang Juan Tamad mentality. We have to bring out the best in everyone. As for me, the solution for the government to find ways to maximize the individual potential of everyone. In Baguio, this can be done if the government will dispose totally all public and alienable lands. Of course, kasama na dito ang pagtigil sa corruption sa land titling. Hindi nakakatuwa na mga 211 titles ay patuloy pa rin na ginagamit despite the fact that the last validation is February 1, 1987. The DNR and the city should coordinate with the Office of the Solicitor General for the reversion of all 211 titles back to the national government and eventually back to the classification as public and alienable lands. If we remove the corruption, we remove the dependency of the ayuda and of the people to the ayuda and other systems. Kung meron government program para sa mga nangangailangan talaga like PWDs at mga hindi makatrabaho physically, yung mga programang ito should be outside the control of politicians. These programs should remain within the offices of the regional and national governments like the PCSO, Department of Social Welfare and Development, Department of Labor and Employment, or mga eksperto pagdating sa poverty at social needs. Ako, for example, I'm just a lawyer at wala akong alam ng mga test kung paano ma-determine yung nangangailangan. Thus, kung may pondo, dadaan dapat mga ito sa mga tamang government agencies at hindi sa aking kamay o kamay ng sino mang politiko. As for your seniors, for our senior citizens, tanggapin natin ang katotohanan. Maraming mga matatanda ang napapabayaan ng kanilang mga anak at apo sa kadahilanan na may mga hanap buhay ang mga ito o nasa abroad. Malungkot at masakit man isipin na marami sa ating mga matatanda ang pinagpapasahan ng mga anak at minsan ay napapabayaan. Hindi maganda na ugali ang pagpapabaya sa ating mga magulang at mga lolo at lola. Subalit ito ang katotohanan para sa mga ilan. Dahil sa utang at layo ng pinagtatrabahuan, wala na oras ang mga nakatapo para sa kanilang mga magulang at grandparents. Dito na dapat papasok ang gobyerno. Kasi ang gobyerno ang safety net para sa mga mahirap, mga matatandang walang nag-aalaga, mga napabayaan ng lipunan, etc. Given what is going on with PhilHealth, I don't think we can depend that much on the national agency for now. As Congressman of Baguio, I will move to seek funds for the creation of local facilities for geriatric care, in coordination, of course, with the local government unit of Baguio City and our political leaders. Geriatric care cannot be purely dependent on private companies because private companies are subject to bankruptcies and market forces. We here in Baguio should have established community geriatric care, administered, funded, and managed by the local government unit of Baguio City. Aside from geriatric facilities, I will move for Baguio to coordinate with the National Bureau of Investigation to create a local task force against elderly financial abuse. Marami na ang gumawa ng scam dito sa Baguio na target ng ang mga matatanda. Alam lahat natin ang kademonyohan ng Casa Infinis scam at huwag tayo pumayag na mangyari ulit dito sa Baguio City yan. With proper arrangements with the Department of Justice, the task force can be properly funded and equipped with personnel and tools to go after the scammers and their properties. Of course, the task force can be used to stop a scam while it is actively scamming at hindi sa kalagitnaan. As Congressman of Baguio, I will use whatever funding I can secure from the national offices to fund sports development in the city, especially those sports development na hindi pinapansin ng private companies kasi masyadong maliit ang kita doon, like just gymnastics, swimming, archery, tennis, etc. Our city should not only be nationally competitive but globally competitive as well. Of course, hindi rin ako papayag na makorap yung mga pondo sa sports. I have met many athletes complaining about stolen funds and poor facilities. Huwag tayo pumayag dyan. Aside from my move para ma-dispose lahat ng public and alienable land sa Baguio City, I will also move na ma-amend ang mga batas sa Pilipinas para makuha ng mga tao ang full ownership nila ng kanilang mga ari-arian. I will move to amend the laws na nagbabawal sa pagpapatitolo ng mga lupa na more than 18 degree slope. Mga taga-Cordillera, ang malalang naapektuhan ng batas na iyon. Kaya kailangan natin tanggalin para may full ownership ang mga taga Baguio, Benguet, Ifugao Mountain Province, Kalinga at Abra sa kanilang mga lupain. Full ownership means pwede nilang mapakinabangan ang kanilang mga lupa, pwede nilang ibenta, pwede nilang isangla para makakuha ng loan, pwede nilang isubdivide, etc. Dahil puro tax declaration lang ang mga lupain sa kabundukan ng Cordillera, mas mababang valuation ng mga lupang ito ng mga taga-Cordillera kaysa mga lupa ng taga-Ilocania or ang neighboring valley of Cagayan. As regards illegal drugs and drug trafficking. Like what I said earlier, I am in favor of the death penalty for transnational drug trafficking, especially for methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, ecstasy, etc. Like I said earlier, I also moved that the law enforcement and the prosecution should have the power to forfeit and freeze assets and bank accounts in relation to people charged with transnational drug trafficking. Just like I stated earlier, I am in favor of any bill or law to make drug convicts labor for purposes of rehabilitation, payment to society, and as an example for everyone not to follow. Also, I am in favor of the removal of marijuana from the schedule of prohibited substances. I have noticed that Thailand had been benefiting a lot from Filipinos who had been going there to take marijuana. While I believe that marijuana should be removed from the schedule of prohibited substances, I also believe that its usage should also be like other regulated ones, meaning these substances should be used with doctor's prescription and with his or her guidance. The city will soon have 2 vacancies in the judiciary, and it has now a vacancy in the office of the city prosecutor. While these positions are filled up by the President of the Philippines, we know for a fact that the congressman can give a favorable recommendation to the applicant of his or her choice. As Congressman of Baguio, I will not recommend my friends to the position. I will take my job seriously before making any recommendation. The test will be simple. If the evidence so requires that you have to impose a death penalty, and assuming Congress has reinstated the death penalty, would you impose the penalty despite your own religious convictions? That's my question. Yun lang. We need strong judges in Baguio City and away from political maneuverings of the so-called recommending authority. We need judges na hindi tali ng mga local politicians, financiers, and these judges will interpret the law as written and not use any fancy theories na galing academia. As regards the office of the city prosecutor, I will recommend someone with the right background, experience, and I will do or conduct an extensive research whether the applicants got connections with local financiers, gambling lords, businessmen with numerous cases. And if I found out that an applicant has extensive connections with local financiers and he and she is willing to concoct estafa cases for the local financer, I will write personally to the Department of Justice to oppose the application and provide evidence. The mafia system in our local judicial system must be destroyed and must be eliminated immediately. If the elimination cannot happen immediately, I, being Congressman of Baguio, will exert all due diligence to provide the right judges and prosecutors for my constituents using recommendations. As regards religious freedom, kakampi nyo ako dyan. Kung sakaling papayagan ang same-sex union sa Pilipinas, hindi ako papayag na mapuwersa ang mga simbahan at religious organization na mag-officiate ng same-sex union kung labag ito sa kanilang mga kalooban. Hindi rin ako papayag na mapuwersa ang mga local na huwes at local na mayors na mag-officiate ng same-sex unions kung labag ito sa kanilang pananampalataya. Napakalaki ng Pilipinas para makahanap ng mga mayors, judges at religious clergies na papayag sa same-sex unions. Sabi ko nga, kailangang respetuhin natin ang isa't isa at kasama na dito ang pagrespeto ng kalayaan ng pananampalataya. Akin rin isusulong ang pag-recognize ng religious divorce and indigenous divorce o mga sistema ng mga katutubo pagdating sa aspeto ng marriage at diborsyo. Naniniwala ako na hindi dapat mamonopolyo ng isang religious system. Ang marriage na sa aking palagay ay napaka-personal para sa tao. Finally, I seek the support of the people of Baguio for my bid as Congressman of Baguio City. My philosophy in lawmaking is for the creation of laws for the promotion of individual rights, especially property rights and the protection of one's right to pursue happiness. I promise to join discussions and lawmaking processes in order to reduce the debt, balance our budget, protect the healthcare system, expand the coverage of the healthcare system, and ensure that the government pension is still functioning. I promise to do everything to reduce the size of our government and eliminate corruption or the systems which allow corruption. As Congressman of Baguio, I promise full transparency in lawmaking, and I will seek the opinion of the elected local council, community, and religious leaders in making laws and making decisions as regards bills being placed on my table. As Congressman of Baguio, I promise I will prioritize Baguio City in my decision-making as Congressman, even despite my decision can be unpopular in the national scene. So it's Baguio first! Attorney Francis Camtugan, numero 2 sa balota. Come together right now. Maraming salamat po.